name is Parker.
And my name is Ned.
Well, this is the Force Unlimited, yet another Star Wars Unlimited episode, back after a month. This is episode number 53. We are recording on March 22nd. Where have we been? Ned, you went to Unpub.
I did.
And that accounts for one weekend that we didn't record. And then there was the other weekend where I thought you were going to Unpub and filled up my weekend with plans on the assumption you were gone. That is,
sadly,
again, the gangbusters communication everybody expects from the two of us. How was Unpub, Ned?
Unpub was really good. Unpub is also a lot, just like emotionally and mentally taxing because you're in like a place playing a bunch of games and they vary heavily in like quality and doneness, and you're trying to and you're also playing your games and you're having other designers come in and like sometimes they give good feedback and sometimes they're just tired and they don't want to look at games anymore, but by God, they're not going to pass up anything. And my single biggest complaint about Unpub, and this is perhaps not fair because I live in Portland, but it's at the Baltimore, the BWI Marriott. And your ability to walk to anything from the BWI Marriott is very, very poor. Where, like, there is a restaurant in the hotel, but the restaurant in the hotel is expensive and slow and stinks.
And that's it.
Yeah. So one day I managed to get the gumption to like walk along the side of a 4-lane road with traffic at 40 miles an hour to go to a Chipotle. Like there wasn't even a sidewalk. I was just walking on the side of the road to go to a Chipotle. And I appreciate Chipotle as much as the next person, but
no, yeah. way more than the next person. So many, you'd have to walk past so many people to find you, like that entire road of people you walk past. I don't think there was a next person.
No.
That's something that I've encountered. Something I've learned from our friendship, Ned, is that doneness and quality are actually two separate axes.
Oh, 110%. Yeah.
You know, and in my mind, an undone game was not good, but it turns out they're actually really good games that just aren't done. And I mean, we all know there are done games that are bad. How many? Who does anybody? So, I'm always fascinated by conventions that seem to only draw, like people who are, you know, there to consume to sell. You know what I mean? Like those festivals and everything where everybody's got a booth. How many people go to Unpub just to play up and coming games as opposed to
20%? I'd say like 10 to 20% of the people. So like one in 5 people, they're like locals and they're looking for something to do.
So it is overwhelming. Nobody travels to Unpub just to experience games a year before they're done.
God, no. Okay. Like in fact, the fact that I was one of maybe 3 people from the West Coast who traveled out to Unpub, and I don't know if I'm going to make the schlep. I said that last year, but this year I really appreciate it. I had a great time. It's a lot. It was just a lot of effort, and I don't know if I'm going to make that schlep again next year when there's perfectly lovely stuff that doesn't involve flying to Baltimore.
Yeah. Let's see. We still haven't heard if Baton is designing a card for winning the Galactic Championships. Tonight's beer is Anchorage Brewing Within Us. Ooh. It's ostensibly a double IPA. It's
bold of you to be drinking a double IPA while we're recording a show.
Gorgeous. Oh man, it's you know, I had such high hopes. I mean, it's only a 8.4. Like
that's not terrible. It's not like a 12% or something.
No. Yeah. And I had such high hopes. I love Anchorage Brewing. Beautiful can. I was really optimistic about when I picked out this one. This is handily the worst beer I've ever had on the show.
This is the old doneness and quality. Very polished. Yeah.
I had to do a double check because I get these beers for the show at this Uptown Brewing. It's a great bottle store, and it's got a Smashburger John, that's your word, outside.
Yes.
And so when I go there for dinner, I stock up on my like quality unique beers, and I get sours for my wife.
Yeah.
And I had to double check that I had not gotten a sour. This tastes, I mean, like I'm going to drink it because I paid a lot for it, and it's still alcohol, but it tastes like bubble gum, which is not what you want from your double IPA.
Flavor
like a great bubble gum for a double IPA. Not happy. So in the last month, pre-release came out. Ned, you went to a pre-release. Ned, and you have started. You're still your Zorgo Hell.
Yeah, no,
So,
I mean, like, I want to be included.
no, that's fair. I picked these out for the show. I expressly go and find these for the show. I didn't start that way, but that's where it's gotten after people asked. Ned, how was pre-release?
Pre-release was really good. It was at Guardian. Shout out to Guardian Games. It was, I think, the pre-release that I attended was maybe a little bit sparser than some of the prior pre-releases that I attended. But the folks that were there were lovely, and I piloted a Chewy Blue list into 3-1, which I feel very, very happy about. I got blown out by Leppy Scout in the last game, and that's just the way that it is.
And I mean, it's not just the way it is. That's the way it is at Guardian. There's a lot of PQ winners in that store.
Yes.
I did not go to pre-release, and I don't feel bad about that at all. I didn't go to the JTL pre-release. I don't know what the name of the set coming in March of 27 is, but I'm going to tell you I'm not going to that pre-release.
Homeworld?
First weekend?
No. Or is Homeworld?
No, that's later this year. They haven't announced it. They haven't announced it.
Yeah.
First weekend in March is my wife's birthday and my daughter's birthday, so I had a great time at Legends of the Force. I had a great time at Secrets of Power, and I'm looking forward to Ashes. But March just never. The fact that I love the consistency of knowing the first weekend forever. That's just how it's going to be. But that precludes me from March. Speaking of things, I'm not doing Star Wars Unlimited related. I kind of wanted to get ahead of this one. It is with a heavy heart that I say I'm not going to Vegas. This one kills me. Pre-release is fine. This one kills me because I've spent, this all of 2025 and much of January building up hype for a trilogy panel that I wanted to do. I have roped in a bunch of content creators who I wanted to join me on this trilogy panel. Trying to figure out how I phrase this without giving away too much. There's like a 20% chance that my wife's going to get laid off right before Galactics. Probably not, and we'll be fine.
Sure,
but it would be a rough scene to do that and then immediately turn around and go. Yeah,
you're laid off. Great. Take care.
Anyways, have fun with that.
Yeah,
have fun with the kids. And since I was a kid, I believed in weaponizing Murphy's Law. If you know how the Murphy's Law is going to play out, put yourself in the position where you're happy with the Murphy's Law outcome. That's the risk-adverse thing that made me a lawyer. So I know if I go to Galactics, my wife's going to get laid off. I know if I don't go to Galactics, my wife's not going to get laid off, which is funny, kind of true. Also, just looking at the temporal proximity of the two events, I don't think I'd be able to claw back a lot of money. Like if we could find out in 2 weeks, I'd go for it, claw at most back. But a month out, you're not clawing that back, and I just that's a big risk. So 27, which if Josh, Josh hasn't worked there for years, but if Josh is, so I'm not going to hold Fantasy Flight to his statements on YouTube, but if it is to be believed, has the potential to be in Europe, that would be fun. 27. And 2-1, that's how they're doing the regionals. So I'd have to imagine that's how they're doing the Galactics. Wife's on board with that. So anyways, won't be going. That really makes me sad, but that's life.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the game we just played, Ned.
It was.
I believe the honors go to you.
So I was playing Boba Blue, JTL Boba Blue, and you were playing Krennic Red. With the new base to be able to...
Not Krennic Red. Thrawn
Red. Not Krennic. Thrawn Red.
JTL.
Yes.
JTL Thrawn Red.
I was just staring at Krennic's face the whole game.
Yes. Running in contested caverns. So
yes.
Which is the field... again, I love Thrawn. I don't know how much he's going to be there, but, rather than... you've talked before that the smart thing to do is go... aggro early in a set. And some people like to cook. I like to see the decks that I already love. Do they have new toys? Are the new toys enough to get because I don't know. I feel like legitimate. I keep falling in love with leaders who are almost there.
Yeah.
Like with the exception of Jinner, so I don't think I've fallen in love with a leader who didn't make it. All of my leaders I feel like were close. There's a moment where everybody's cooking with them and trying with them. So I keep coming back. Let's try it again. I don't know if Thrawn's there, but
I mean,
he's fun.
Being able to legacy run me for 12, like it almost got you back in the game, right?
Almost, but the almost is that key word. That's
that
the
is the
defining
key word.
operative word.
Yeah.
No, it was a fun deck. I think I had to play it a little more aggro. I will say, I've been pretty high on a lot of this time since we got about a third of the way through the previews, realizing I was definitely feeling the absence of the blue control package, but it was actually a joy. I felt like I had some answers. I didn't have a good answer for I didn't have an answer for Boba on a big old boy. Like that
that's
was
a hard right. Like there's not really a lot of good leader removal right now. That's
right.
Event.
I was kind of hoping. I mean, I had the tree remembers, and I was really kind of counting on the tree remembers to do work. But you kept dropping. I mean, and he works on like on the Vader deck that I've seen around.
Yes,
but he doesn't. The tree remembers doesn't. You're dropping your Boba on 4 costs, and so then it's just like,
no,
that doesn't. You got to use it for the underlying removal.
Yes,
It's close, but I was going to say this. I've been high on a lot of time. It was such a joy to play red versus blue against red versus blue and not have it be miserable. I feel like that has historically been a pretty miserable matchup for me, where it's just not. It's
just the boards are clear. Yeah.
This was 2 different decks that were blue red, and neither felt particularly control-y. I mean, they definitely a lot of indirect damage. Kind of feels like like control, but you weren't noping my stuff. No. You were just doing a lot of damage, which is what red should be doing.
Yeah.
I was a little bit nervous when we sat down across from each other, but red versus blue mirror match turned out infinitely better than I could have hoped for.
I will also say that you totally sniped a game from me with aggressive negotiations, which being able to do that feels great.
It feels great. Yep. One of the best. If you've never played Ned in a casual setup, and I highly recommend you play if you have the opportunity to play Ned in a casual setup. One of the joys for me is that Ned, without giving away information, vocalizes all of the lines. And you can, and sometimes you have, this works, that doesn't, when you're talking about your hand, but when all of the decision points are on the board, you walk it through, and it was great because you said you did the math and you're like, well, you're still 3 away, and get the joy of knowing that what was coming was great. But then, but 2-1 is a good matchup. That was fun. Speaking of red and blue,
yes,
we're doing a little bit more pie tonight. There is a notion that when you fall off the horse, the longer you wait to get back on the horse, the more likely it is you won't get back on the horse. Thank you, Shrinking from Apple TV. So we are getting back on the horse real quick because we've been out of the game for 4 whole weeks. So we're doing pie. Nice, short, easy episode. 2 slices of pie. If you didn't tune in 3 episodes ago?
2 episodes ago, 51.
51. If you didn't turn in 2 episodes ago, Ned is taking it upon himself to be the color pie person. I
guess,
we talk about it, I think, a lot more than most content creators. I won't say all. And it's almost more than, I think, Fantasy Flight.
Well, I'm in it for the game design, and I think that the color pie is a big part of the game design.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're kicking off our first slice of pie. Speaking of red and blue, is
red and blue.
Red and blue. So the way it is, we're going to walk through. Ned's going to walk us through. I'm going to be these. I forget what's Socrates'.
It varies. Name. It varies who Socrates' interlocutor is. Sometimes it's like.
I'll just go with I like sometimes. Interlocutor. I'll be your interlocutor as we walk through the Mark Rosewater shared and disparate aspects of color pairs.
Yes.
Everybody knows what each color does, but now that we got mixed colors, Lawless Time seemed like a great time to talk about what do mixed colors do.
I've also added another little segment when we'll get to there. Because Lawless Time has been released, we're going to talk specifically about the color-paired cards, at least the units in a Lawless Time, and talk about, to the extent that they exemplify that color pair, how does that feel? So, red and blue. The main synergy between red and blue are these are the removal colors. Red has damage-based removal, blue has non-damage-based removal, or -X based removal. But fundamentally, these are two colors where a big chunk of their pie that is shared between them is killing other people's units.
And I feel like that's so key to the game because, and I could look this up. I haven't looked this up. I'm shooting from the hip, but I feel like green yellow might be one of the I mean, there's some great decks in green yellow. It is viable, but in terms of number of deck archetypes running the no removal colors, I mean, this is a unit-based game. Removing units is key to the game. So.
Yes. Yeah, green yellow. We'll get to that. That's gonna be interesting. So we talk about the big synergies that they have. We're gonna talk about what each color likes in the other. These are the like innate synergies that you see. So for red decks, when they're looking at blue, the thing that red tends to like in blue is killing big units. Red tends to have a problem with killing large units. Red is great at killing small units, but killing large units is not something that red do, and that is something.
Well, that's because red's unit killing is in damage.
Exactly.
Whereas
like that's a consequence.
Blue's is in cards.
Yeah.
Blue just kills the unit.
Yeah. And there are limits.
Yeah.
There are like caveats around the blue's removal a lot of the time, but blue has the ability to just like kill a unit. Your opponent has a Crate Dragon. No, not anymore. But like back in the days of Crate Dragons, you could just kill it. Yeah. Your opponent has some other awful thing. They can just kill it. That's great. Blue also has, although to a lesser extent than green, upgrades. Blue upgrades tend to be more heroism slanted, and I think that's just a function of the way that the lightsaber package is worked out. But red also likes upgrades because upgrades are a way to generate damage quickly. Because
I mean, my condemns helped me through the game, so let's not tie them too closely to heroism. So
sure, but that's like a negative upgrade as opposed to a positive upgrade.
Yeah, there's arguably upgrade as a removal. Fair.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But upgrade as a benefit, like this is a way to get damage across faster. So those are the things that I think of when I'm looking at what red likes in blue. When we look at what blue likes in red, blue tends to be very slow on removal. Or if you think about like the blue removal packages, looking at the blue removal package now, you have the Tree Remembers, which kills very small unit, or not very small, but small units, and is pretty expensive. And then you have the other one, the 5 cost that takes control of something and removes it.
No Glory. Yep.
No Glory. Yeah. Those are both kind of slow. Like if you compare them to red's removal, red has a lot of shoot down, coordinated action.
With power, the dark side out, blue's removal package starts at 4. Mm-hmm. So so quick action.
Quick action is good. Card draw is another one. Blue, given that a lot of blue's cards are essentially trading card for card, the ability to go up on cards is huge. And red is the color of card draw. So if you think about like blue's removal package, no glorying somebody's unit under most circumstances is like a 1-for-1. Sometimes it's a 2-for-1 equivalent, but your ability to do that indefinitely is very limited unless you're drawing more cards than them, particularly if they're a faster deck so that they're drawing 2 per turn. And if you're still resourcing, you're only drawing 1 per turn and you can't make those trades indefinitely. Another thing that blue tends to like in red is the ability to turn the corner quickly. So this is a concept in control decks, but the basic idea is in a control deck, there's going to come a point where you have control of the board. Your opponent's board is clear or mostly clear or is in a state where they're not going to be able to threaten you meaningfully, at least right now. And the problem is once you have achieved that state in a control deck, you need to kill them. And ideally, you want to kill them quickly because there are a lot of ways that players can like wriggle out of you sitting on them. So things that turn the corner quickly are good, and red tends to have a lot of high-powered units that can turn the corner reasonably quickly. Now, that's more true now than it was. I think back in the days of Spark, like Luke was a perfectly fine closer on his own. Bo-Katan now is a fine closer on her own in the like top end blue control-y space. But I think that there's a lot of like
If you're, I mean,
yeah,
Bo-Katan's what, 8? Like,
yeah.
I mean, if you're dropping 8s, they should all be closers.
Yeah. But having the ability to like close the game out quickly is something that Blue appreciates.
That's what they like.
Yes. So now what they don't like, and this tension I think is best summarized on this idea of like attack versus defense, where red is kind of the attacking color and blue is kind of the defense color. Where red units tend to have bigger punch than butt, whereas blue units tend to have bigger butt than punch. This isn't as much of a tension as some other situations, but this is a little bit of a tension in that, like, if you have weirdly statted units, depending on your opponent's ability to trade, they can trade their cheap units into your big expensive red units that have weak butts, and then they can kind of ignore your blue units that have the
okay. So
butts.
yeah, that's a note that I had was there. It's a difference, but in the same way. But you know what? Why is this a tension? In that, you know, a red deck is all small butts.
Yeah.
And so it was really nice against a deck that was dealing indirect damage to, you know, to have the big blue butts, but then vice versa.
Yeah.
To have a couple cards that could just, you know, do the 4 damage to your 4 damage or whatever, you know, 4 health or whatever.
No.
So this feels like almost a complementary as much as
It can be complementary. I think that honestly blue and red complement each other very well. There's also a minor tension in the idea that red tends to sacrifice, you know, now or later for now. And so if you're thinking about blue being really hungry for cards, a common red theme is like discarding cards for advantage. And so red kind of makes up for it with card draw, but I could see the like more heavily slanted blue decks. There are some red cards that they're not going to be able to take advantage of because the red cards are requiring that you discard cards from your hand, that you're essentially like burning your deck or your hand to try and get across the finish line faster. And that's not really how blue rolls, and so there's a tension there. But honestly, I think blue and red pair very well together.
Very well, yeah. All right.
The primary shared keyword, and this is a keyword that you see kind of sparingly, is grit. And grit is a really great encapsulation of blue and red because it takes the big butts and it turns them into damage, right? So it's taking blue and turning it to red ends, right? I feel that blue units with grit tend to be a little bit better than red units with grit because red units with grit tend to have smaller butts. Yeah.
Right.
But, you know, that feels very blue-red, that combination keyword. So, looking at the 2-color cards in the set that was just released, yes, in Lost Time, we have a set of cards that I think play very well together. We've got Cheofan, Bellaret, and Mando, where these 3 cards all are basically taking card draw. They're finding ways to draw you more cards, right? They're a nice clean package. They all work together. They're all doing that kind of red card draw thing. I don't know what's kind of making them blue. They feel like you could make an argument that they could live in a mono red environment because they're all just like drawing cards and then dealing, and you know, in the case of Bellaret and Mando, like getting benefits from drawing cards. But Mando, at least you can see the shield is kind of being a way where it's like taking the red card draw and it's turning it to blue ends. The next group you have is the Bith, Brute, and Zeb, where you've got Sentinel and Saboteur. So this is a little bit less for Zeb, but for the Bith, Brute, that combination of Sentinel and Saboteur, it's interesting to me that they didn't go for grit as the keyword. Sentinel and Saboteur, like Sentinel is a blue ability and Saboteur is a red ability, but they're not doing the kind of crossover. And I think that one of the big problems is that the blue-red keyword of grit is a very tough one to use because from the math that I have done previously, it tends to be pretty expensive because you can very easily like close out the game very, very fast with a grit unit.
No, the absence of grit in red blue is
Yeah.
I think very conspicuous. But I suspect it's because these are the first two, dual or tricolor tri-aspect cards, and as such, they're kind of feeling out how these have to be powerful, right? Like
Yes.
Single reactor ignition is a perfect example of like this is a 3-aspect card.
Yes.
And so how do you make a card that's like 2 or 3 aspect pushed when grit is your riskiest keyword?
Yeah, no, you just can't do it. Yeah.
So like I understand, makes me sad, Fantasy Flight. I really hope we see 2 or 3 aspected grit.
I'm sure that they will.
set.
In a long enough timeline, they will. And when I talk about Zeb being Sentinel and Saboteur, Zeb isn't really doing the Sentinel and Saboteur job. Zeb is doing direct damage and Sentinel, so it's kind of being in the same space where it's like doing damage to your opponent's units in the way that Saboteur does sometimes, and also having Sentinel. But Zeb doesn't quite fit as neatly in that bucket. We have this 3-card bucket of Chirrut, Baze, and Hana, where they're all essentially cards that are dealing damage and then healing you for dealing damage. In the case of Baze and Chirrut, they have this like healing synergy between the two of them, where Chirrut, when you deal damage, you heal. Baze, when you heal, you get to deal damage. And then Hana has both Saboteur and Restore. Another like
Raid.
red, yeah.
Raid and Restore.
Raid and Restore, sorry, yes. Raid and Restore, so it's like doing damage and healing. The final card, the final unit in the pairing that I wanted to look at is IG-88, and my notes on this are what? So it is, like, it makes sense. It's like a red body, but it's got a shield, so it's got extra value. So it's like taking that blue thing, but you're of the shield, and then you're slapping it on like a red base stat total, but it doesn't feel as like blue ready, I guess.
I mean, I guess the argument is that red has, consistently has this pattern of here's a big front,
Yeah.
but with a terribly small butt,
Yeah.
and it won't get played because great, you played a 5/2 for 3. And being able to, threaten 5 damage for 3 resources feels great. Being able to, but it's probably going to die.
Yeah.
And this gives you the chance to threaten 6 damage for 4.
Yep.
Which feels good.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to live.
Because it's got a shield. Yeah.
Because if they run enough through it that you're not doing 6 to base, feels great.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that one tracks for me. I don't know if that's a what. Maybe.
No, I can see it. I can see it.
All right. So what are the deck archetypes, Ned?
So I think that this is going to pass the test. In the aggro space, we have GI.
What is the test, Ned? For those
the
who weren't
test
here 2
is-
episodes ago.
The promise that was given to us, handed down on tablets from Mount Sinai, is that I think you called it the aggression test. Yeah.
It was just that we should be promised every aspect should be available. Yeah, the aggression test,
Yeah.
because aggression started in aggression, but we were promised every aspect would be available in all 3 archetypes.
Right. So the question is, does this aspect pair exist in all 3 archetypes? And to prove, like, you can always build a deck, right? But these are decks that have had, like, even fringe results I'm willing to count.
No, Time in the Sun,
Yeah.
I think, is
Yeah.
the fair.
Yes.
Even if it's a deck that a lot of people play because it has potential or is super fun, like a super fun deck that doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily rate, as long as enough people are playing it, that counts.
All right. So
And it passes. That's the
I think
spoiler.
it does. I think it does. So for the aggro slot, we've got GI Blue. Back during set 1, GI Blue was legitimate. And then into set 2, GI Blue remained kind of legitimate. And then as the card pool got bigger, it kind of fell off. But, you could play it and you wouldn't be completely laughed out of the room.
Yeah, and so it existed.
It existed. It's not like a true pure aggro deck. It's kind of more of a tempo deck, where you're still trying to win on turn like 5 or resource 5 or 6, and I think that trying to win on resource 5 or 6 makes a lot of sense. You know, it counts in the aggro bucket for me. For mid range, we have Mother Talzin red, which
that deck's done okay.
Yeah, that deck's done. It's done well enough. Again, it shades a little bit more aggro than a traditional mid range deck, but fundamentally, you are trying to win on like resource 6 or 7, and this deck was kind of centered in blue, where the blue Villainy Force package is very good and continues to be very good, and then you're using the red to kind of make up the little bits and bobs because you needed more Force units. It fundamentally felt like that deck existed largely because of Secretive Sage and Talzin's Assassin. And like Mother Talzin wasn't bad, but those were kind of the big hitters, and you pulled in the red to make sure that you had enough Force units to make it go. In the more controlling space, we have Anakin Colossus. You can make an argument that it's a mid-range deck. You can make an argument that it's kind of like a fast control deck.
I think that's the argument to be made for a lot of the red-blue pairs, that blue just lends itself so nicely to control.
Yeah.
And so you end up in this situation where you're like, oh, I'm a control deck, unless I'm against another control deck, in which case I'm going to be the beatdown and lean heavily on my red package.
Right.
And that gets you through 80% of matchups.
Yeah.
Like that logic of how you're going to play the game. So yeah, the fact that like all red-blue decks range from, they're all kind of somewhat mid-range, somewhat control. Even the most control-y end up having like,
Yeah, and I think that's one of the benefits of the red-blue pairing is that you can shade whichever way you want depending on your package, and it makes them, in my opinion, a very strong pair of aspects to wield together.
But we talked about how red-blue allowed for a hard control deck. Does red-blue have a hard control deck argument?
Red-blue has what I would argue is the hardest of hard control decks, the Bosk Blue control list that played almost no units. Like there was just, bounties that you put on your opponent's units early on, and then you just went to town.
Yep.
Yeah.
So red-blue absolutely passes the test.
Yeah.
That it could be anything, because by virtue, we were promised every color could be everything, but that means if every color could be everything, in theory, every combination of colors should be everything. Ned, your not yet seen deck archetypes feels like a bit of a lie, or at least aged poorly.
I mean, okay, so the archetype that I have that we haven't really seen, and again, Parker does point out that you have kind of seen it. And more than kind of seen it, you literally just played it, is When Defeated. So something I noticed looking through the red and the blue card pool is that they tend to have a lot of pretty good When Defeated effects. This isn't completely true. There are good When Defeated effects in other colors, but the red and the blue When Defeated effects tend to be a little bit stronger. Red, because you have this idea that you're throwing your units away, and so the When Defeated ability is giving you like a little bit more value as you're throwing them away. And blue, it's because you've got these defensive units, and then you're making your opponent kind of pay for every inch. And Thrawn is a leader that is played frequently in red and blue and has a really nice, doubling of When Defeated effects in a way that you would say, gosh, that's really good. And I would say, yeah, it is really good. I just wish it was better.
Yeah,
right?
No, it's not. We'll see. I mean, the meta's still young. I don't think it's there yet, but again, Thrawn's got one of those great. We still got 2 more sets in this before he rotates out of potential When Defeated cards. He's only going to get better. Yeah, right? Like if he's almost there with 4 sets, maybe he'll be there with 6. I mean, who knows? But
yeah, it's going to depend on the When Defeated abilities that are printed. Speaking of When Defeated abilities, bring back Ruthless Raider. Just that's my baby. Just bring it back. I know. Just reprint it.
Yeah,
just
right.
Reprint it. Yeah.
Just +1 health or +1 something else or
Yeah. However you want.
I do love a good when played When Defeated pairing. There's just something about like the guarantee that you're going to get it not once but twice.
Yes.
I like Krennic's shuttle. What is it, 149?
Yeah.
There's just something satisfying about. I'm
want your
guaranteed
shield?
to get it. Guaranteed to get it once is great. Guaranteed, because when it's guaranteed twice, if you bounce it, fine. Then it's got to enter the battle. You don't want to bounce it, so you have to deal with it, which means I get it again on them. I mean, I think that's why Ruthless Raider was fun. Any card with a double of one of those is fun. So, red blue, not a shock here. That is a tasty slice of pie. It's regularly seen. I would say it's arguably one of the more popular two color pairings.
Oh, 110%.
Let's talk about one that maybe we see a little less.
So this is weird, right? Because green-yellow is our next slice of pie, and green-yellow is very interesting because they are... It doesn't seem to work, but it somehow does. Like, going through decks, there's actually a lot more green-yellow decks that have been popular and successful than you might imagine. But there's... I think that as we get into this pie, I feel like that is... We'll just get into it and we'll discuss it as we go. So, green and yellow. Green is kind of the color of units and doing stuff on the board and kind of like more forthright, just go forth and do your thing. Yellow is the color of trickery and a lot of from hand effects and a lot of shenanigans. And what they agree on, what the synergy is weirdly enough, ramp. Is that both green and yellow?
I mean,
ramp.
I think you're going to find that. No, I don't think they agree with on ramp, and I'm going to push back on that. I think my great frustration with yellow is that yellow is the color of everything with hoops. And so what yellow agrees with every other color is, what is that color like? I like that too with hoops.
Yeah.
And so, and that's not entirely fair, but it's sufficiently fair that I feel comfortable saying it in public on a podcast. That's what is green's two big things. Green's, things are, good stats.
Yep.
When played, ramp.
Yep.
What is yellow also good at? Yellow has some pretty compelling when played, good stats and ramp.
The good stats I'm gonna push back on a little bit here. Yellow stats they can be good, but you also
But again, you only need to look at like the top 20% of cards, and yellow gets the push stats at the top end. So they're not all compelling, but I'm really trying not to hate on yellow. I actually think yellow is starting to develop like a real sense of identity that isn't just everybody else's stuff with hoops.
Yeah.
As the game has gotten richer. So I'm increasingly pro yellow, less anti-yellow.
So, what does green like in yellow? Green likes combat tricks. So because green is like this very forthright color where it's putting units on the board and then its units are hopefully bigger than your units and it smacks them in. Sometimes, much to green's dismay, the math doesn't quite work out and you need a little bit more to get over the top. And that's where you really love that surprise strike.
Yellow is the little bit more color. That's whatever you're looking for, it's a little bit more.
A little bit more. And then bounce isn't as good for green as removal is because they're just going to play it again. But it can be enough. It can get you there. And so having those bounce effects can help to get you across the finish line. And
especially because I think green is the most susceptible to Build-A-Bear.
Yes.
Voltron strategies. A card that starts off small and gets more, I think green struggles the most with. Because its removal is about trading.
Yes.
And so bouncing allows you to reset the stage.
To Build-A-Bear. Yeah.
And congratulations, you've lost the pajamas and the train hat, and now you've got just a naked bear. Good luck.
Yeah.
And if we
nobody's going to buy that stupid bear.
Yeah. If we stretch the analogy too far. That's where yellow. I think bounce works. I love bounce in green.
Yeah.
So,
So
What is yellow like in green, Ned?
big efficient units. Like a lot of yellow's units are kind of weirdly statted or just weird. They do stuff, but the stuff that they do can sometimes be kind of orthogonal to the direction that the game wants to go in. So that's not great. And then like an actual top end, yellow's top end. It exists. There are some good, like Qui-Gon Jinn's a good card. You know.
Sure,
Depa
but I was
Billaba.
thinking about the
Yeah.
fact that yellow has such rough, like yellow is the color
Yeah.
of not capital ships.
Yes.
Like if you think you can, every other color can list compelling capital ships.
Yes.
Yellow cannot.
No. Yellow does not have like a space top end. Yellow can sometimes have a ground top end, but that ground top end tends to be like you're paying for a lot of the power in the form of like weird abilities. And sometimes you just need things that hit stuff.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
like Radiant 7 and Liberty, like
Yeah.
are they capital ships?
Home
Yes.
one. Home one is technically a capital ship in yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, like it's not the whole point of that card is that it costs 9. But
Yeah.
if you're paying 9 for it, you're not playing it the way it's meant to be paid.
you're doing it wrong. Right.
You're doing it wrong. So it's like they're actually, like I mean, when you look at like okay, what are the 8 plus costs, which is where I really feel like you go from like end to end game capital
Yeah.
ships all seem to start around 8. Chimera? No. And Liberty? I mean,
Maybe.
maybe. Liberty's
Yeah.
more annoying. So it's
Yeah.
Yellow is not the clear capital ship. So
Yeah.
you know.
The tension between green and yellow is best defined as, in my mind, in play versus from hand. Yellow
Okay.
wants to have a big hand of cards, and it looks at you with the big hand of cards, and it is going to go, ha ha ha, you thought you had me, but wait. And green wants to put its cards on the table and
Turn them sideways.
yeah, turn them sideways. Big hardcast fatties and turn them sideways. In the immortal words of a variety of folks.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, and that one all definitely. I mean, again,
Yeah.
it's the tension of versus, and I struggle with the notion of tension. I haven't wrapped my head around it. I figure I suspect I will get it on the final slice of pie. These are in a sense compliments, right?
Yeah.
I guess the word they're compliments in a deck. They're not, but they're tensions on an individual card when designing
Yes.
a card. That
Right. Is that if you are designing
I
a
got
card-
it now. I
Yes.
get the slice of pie now.
Yes.
So.
Is that absolutely being able, like they are complementary in the sense that you're filling a hole that the other one lacks. But if I'm trying to design a card that is both yellow and green, if I'm trying to design a card that is green that fits well into yellow decks, ideally that card should be more from hand. If I'm trying to design a yellow card that fits well into green decks, that card should do stuff when it's in play.
Yeah.
So-
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Shared
go ahead.
keyword. No,
Shared keyword.
I'm leading you through this, Ned, because you have all of the content.
Oh
So
no!
You are the serif font that makes up all the body text, and I am the obnoxious, like high flare handwriting font that makes up the headers. So that's how we're rolling.
The shared keyword that is most prominent is ambush, which it makes sense, right? Like yellow has the tricky trick as part of its portfolio, and ambush is a good way to take your units and turn them into tricky tricks, right? Like what's the simplest?
Well, I mean, I think the thing is,
Yeah.
as you noted, the statement
Yeah.
for ambush is get value from units, and
Yes.
yellow carries the front half of that sentence, and green, get value, and green
Yeah.
carries the back half of that sentence from units. Green wants to
Yes.
do things from units, get
Yes.
value from units, win the game from units. Like
Yes.
Yellow wants to get value from damage, get value
Yeah.
from bounce, get value from whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
All right, and now for our new bit of pie, the whipped cream that we have started adding, looking through the 2-color cards that
Yeah.
are in green and yellow.
So there's a lot of what's in here. So let's
What?
start off with the ones that are kind of like slam dunks. Max Rebo and the band. Max Rebo and the band, they ramp you. They're ramping you in ways that are both green and yellow. Like the fact that you're getting 2 regroup phases, that ramps you, right? But it ramps you in a weird way, right? Like Max Rebo generates credits, which ramps you in a weird way. So it perfectly fits the like green yellow combo wombo combo thing. But if the entirety of yellow's contribution to everything is X, but in a weird way, right? Like that. Unfortunately, I think a lot of these kind of fall into that spot, right? So
I suspect we're going to see a lot of that in yellow 2-color cards. Like,
yep.
You know, here's the thing that yellow can't quite be good enough to do, so we're going to do it even better in a weird way.
So Patient Hunter, like, what is Patient Hunter? Patient Hunter is an exhaust card that yellow likes, but it's doing it in a weird way where you're putting experience on units, but you can also use it for yourself if you're willing to like not do things with your units for a while, which seems weird.
I mean, green has Sentinel, but not enough. You know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know that this feels really yellow-green other than we're doing something strangely and it involves experience tokens, so therefore it's green, right?
I mean, yellow increasingly does seem to be the color of here is an effect that is both good and bad that you can do
Yes.
wherever. I mean, it's not the only one, but we've seen it before, you know, right up there with Admiral Akbar leader, right?
Yeah.
Like you know, yellow, that seems to be increasingly a part of the yellow identity is do a thing. It's good or bad.
Yeah.
Pick one. So
Figure it
all right,
out.
what else?
Zuckuss and Forlam and Maz Kanata are all playing into this typal synergy, I should say, where they care a lot about units that share a type with them. And we're going to get down to typal stuff later because it's weird to me that yellow-green seems to have a strong typal sub-theme. It is interesting to me that seems to be where typal stuff slots sometimes. Because
You mean, so I was going to say there are definitely typals that line up with 2 colors, but you're saying the like typal abilities.
yeah,
That's fair.
like
Yeah.
this isn't uniform, but like yellow has done a lot of typal stuff arguably successfully in Cad Bane, who we're not doing that bit anymore.
No, but I mean, Underworld, you had McClunky and everything. Like, there's a lot of Underworld, a lot of Bounty Hunter in yellow, and then green has all of the typal synergies.
Yeah, like that green is kind of the de facto. Do you want to do something typal? It's in green because green cares about units, which seems, you know, we'll get to that when I complain about things. So these are 3 typal cards that vary in efficacy, but they all care about typality, which I guess is kind of a yellow-green color pipe. Devornian Doorbuster has Saboteur and Restore.
Devornian Doorbuster has... That makes sense. I mean, they're just grabbing the keywords that you don't have access to outside
Why don't you
yellow.
give it Ambush?
Well, but that's where they share. I think you're looking at keywords that you don't normally... There's a cycle of cards where yellow does not have easy access to Restore.
Yes.
And green does not have easy access to Saboteur.
Saboteur. Right. I hear you, but the total package feels weird to me.
Okay. Yeah. Fair. I mean, I think especially when you're, you know, having never done this, when you're building a set and you've got to fill it out with commons.
You got
like, here's an idea, and that idea has now generated. You know, it's the Mega Man theory. Like,
yes,
we have an idea, and I'll color it with wood, and now I'm going to color it with lightning, and now I'm going to color it with fire, and now I'm going to color it with storm, and now I'm going to color it with metal. Like, what if we took each color pairing and we gave them a low-cost common that had, or just a common that had the 2 keywords that each color doesn't have access to? Great, boom! We've just designed 6
cards. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Like, hole filling is a legit challenge, and they're not all going to be slam dunks.
Well, and like, where else are you going? I mean, I hear you that maybe Restore One and Saboteur are not synergistic keywords.
Yes.
But at the same time, how are you going to get Restore One and Saboteur
on
a card?
Yeah.
Right? Like green has Sentinel. You put, this enables I'm not saying it's compelling combo, but it enables a combo where you let the Doorbuster hide behind a Sentinel and just keep running into base to get that restore.
Yeah.
Something that you can't really do, in either color individually. Even if you had a green-yellow deck that had both colors, you wouldn't be able to build that kind of engine. And so I suspect that each kind of keyword pairing allows something that, again, it's that mildly interesting. You should not be knocking that on the show, Ned. So
I hear you.
How's my girl?
Jyn Erso. Jyn Erso feels like a Leia upgrade, right? Like set one Leia did the exhaust or exhaust a resource, and Jyn Erso is doing that, but you could also give an experience. So, and it's when played. So like obviously because
is an
it's when
experience
played,
token token better than readying a resource?
I don't know. I think, in my opinion, an experience token is worse than readying a resource if you can play something with the resource.
So this feels like a downgrade almost.
Yes, but sometimes you can't do like a lot of the play patterns that I had with Leia were I would want to ready a resource, but I wouldn't get any value from it. Right?
See, what I feel like Jyn Erso is, she's a battlefield marine who can take a -1/-1 to exhaust a unit.
Yeah.
And plus that +1 can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But, green is the color of battlefield marine. Green is the color of the efficient vanilla body.
Yep.
And this lets you do just that one extra aspect's worth of color. So this one actually makes, I think, conceptual sense to me. I don't think it's a what.
You don't think it's a what? Okay.
No, this feels like how do we make Battlefield Marine one aspect better? You can't make it like cost 3 better.
Oh no, because that doesn't.
Because
yeah,
Battlefield Marine has to cost 2.
Yes,
and it's already green heroism. So if we were to add another aspect, how do we, to borrow your word, zhuzh it up just a little bit more? And here's a little versatility of what to do with that +1/+1. So
yeah, seems reasonable.
Anyway. All right, what else we got, Ned?
The Ghost. The Ghost gives a shield and an experience token when played. It's a one played effect, so obviously it's green-yellow. I mean, I guess, yellow does shields and green does experience, so obviously a shield and experience, bam, there you go.
I love all the Spectres. I love Rebels. I'm not a fan of how hard this set has gone on. Like, this is the second set where we've gotten like a really good, a really rich Rebel package, or a Spectre package.
Yeah.
And how hard they've gone on. Look, these cards are awesome in
4-color decks or 3-color decks,
or in Twin Suns, but what's the likelihood I'm running a blue or red unit in a green, yellow, white deck if I'm not running Hera? Right, and
I
want to run Spectres in my deck, and it's like a lot of Spectres in my deck without running Hera, and it never seems to come to pass. Makes me sad.
Yeah,
but no, that's not what this episode's about. So, last card in our setup,
Falcon. The new Falcon. It's kind of a combat trick on a stick, where you get to make a unit less powerful, and then you get to make one of your units more powerful. And it's doing that thing that Lando was trying to do back in JTL, but that was in blue, where it's counting on you having both ground units and space units. This feels a little what to me. Like, I appreciate that it's a combat trick on a stick, but that doesn't mean that I love it.
Yep. I do 2 5s in space for 3. I love them.
Yes.
Because they're really great targets for, I'm not going too hard in space, and I'm going to put some beef in space to just bide time against a aggressive space strategy. So I have been toying with this Millennium Falcon, and just I'm somewhat of a fan. So what are the archetypes? Does it pass the aggression test, Ned?
I think it does. Weirdly enough. So for aggro, you have small ball aggro in the form of the Vader Force Swarm or JTL Vader Swarm deck. That's just a space swarm deck. You just play a bunch of space units. It turns out that like having Victor 4 and a bunch of cheapo space units in yellow makes a deck work along with Vader Pilot.
Yeah.
Yep.
How much do you feel like the archetypes are working on? I mean, and this can be true of any pairing, but of the intrinsic quality of the of the pairing, and how much is it on the backs of like leaders who really utilize the pairing?
That's a complicated question. What I would say for green yellow is that the green yellow decks that I see feel very tactical in the sense that they are taking advantage of specific cards and specific interactions. They're not strategic. Like it obviously takes strategy to play, but when I'm talking about like tactical versus strategic, a strategic is like you have a game plan and you're trying to execute your game plan, and your game plan you can describe like in a couple of words, right? And so if you think back to like the blue red, like the GI deck, where that's an aggro deck that felt very red blue to me, where it's using GI to ready units, and you need the blue units that have the big butt so that they can be readied, and then you're getting value out of that, right? If you think about like the mid-range, the Mother Talzin deck, you're combining like the shrinking effects with red direct damage and like this force package. It felt like I was really kind of leaning into the aspects in a certain way. The Vader 4 space deck and the other decks that we're going to talk about, this doesn't feel very green-yellow to me. It feels like it is in green-yellow because Space Vader is green and he's well-statted, and Victor 4 is in green, so you can have like a go-wide space package, and then yellow has cheap, good ships.
It's a lot of yellow cards.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this deck would be in whatever color Vader is in, plus yellow. So, what other decks are we going to talk about, Ned? It passes the aggro test. Does it pass the mid-range test?
It does. Weirdly, Han 1 Green, I think, was the villain of the last, just prior to rotation.
Yep.
And
nope. So Han 1 Green, I mean, that deck saw a lot of different shapes.
Yeah.
And I mean, some of that is just that like green heroism is pushed and Han is pushed. I don't know how much of that is actually like is that an archetype, or is that push leader plus push units are good?
I don't know.
But then, to be fair, that's the definition of mid-range, so let's not judge.
I think that you can have mid-range that is more than just a pile of cards that are pushed, right? You can.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. Not all rectangles are, squares, but all squares are rectangles, right?
Yes.
Like, I think any deck that is, here's a bunch of pushed cards in two colors is going to end up being a mid-range deck.
Yeah. And this is kind of keying into that ramp idea where you're using your leader to ramp, and then you're using other cards to ramp, and then you get to drop the green heroism fatties early, and then you just run away with the game.
Well, that's it. But can it control things, Ned?
Weirdly enough, it can. Palp Yellow ran very well near the end of set 5, start of set 6. And that's a deck that, if you were to tell me on paper this deck without showing me the deck list and showing me the results, I'd say that sounds weird. That doesn't sound like a combination that I would expect that would do well. But people did very well with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I'm rushing us, Ned. Not yet seen archetypes in green yellow.
Typal. It is weird. You haven't. Green is the color of units, and they tend to slot like typal effects into green. And then yellow has had arguably the most successful typal leader in the form of Cad Bane. So you would assume that, and there's the whole like Underworld and Bounty Hunter, that's all been like well defined as being like in yellow's territory, and they care, and it's all typal. So the fact that you haven't seen like a green yellow typal deck yet, other than, I mean, you can argue that Vader 4 is space typal, but there's not a typal. It's just space units.
Right. Yep. And they happen to all be fighters just by virtue of the fact they're all small. So.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, dear listener. Once again, thank you for joining us for Pi. Ned and I have said this will be a nice, quick episode, and then we have taken away an hour of your life. We appreciate you joining us on this. We still have 3 slices of pie to go.
Yes.
Not next week. Next week we'll probably talk about something else, or we'll just do more pie. And yeah, Ned, do you have any final thoughts about the episode?
It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Fans, we've missed you. We hope you've missed us.
Yes.
And we'll see you in about 2 weeks.
Adios.